this might be a bigger game. Let's see. Not that the other games aren't bigger either. Just
No, this is gonna. I think this is gonna be something else, man.
well,
Like
look the numbers that we're seeing today. Like the
seriously, like
um,
challenging WoW. Like if you're mentioned in the same breath as WoW, fuck me.
right. Hey everyone, we're here to talk about New World today and kind of hype it up and talk about why we should play it. I'm here with Coron, a longtime MMO player, strategist, and leader in the community, and yeah, we're gonna go from there. Just to start, we'll do some intros. I'm Archer or Justin, depending on what you want to call me. I'm a content creator for Warzone and New World. I've been a longtime WoW player, which where my MMO background comes from, though it's been kind of semi-hardcore and hardcore at times. A lot of that to do is usually struggling to find the right group just for longevity. A lot of groups either die out early, differences in how people, how things want to be ran, or just timing's not right. With New World, I hope to get kind of a new start with that with this new group, which is TSYM, which Corin is currently the leader of, and I'll go in to his intro now. So tell us maybe who you are and kind of why TSYM. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually TSYM, but everybody says TYSM because
Guys,
TYSM is thank you so much, and that's the dialogue short lingo. I've even said TYSM.
I even looked at it on screen as I said it, and I still said
Yeah, it's funny because it's I know people were freaking out a little bit about like, oh, we need to get our names and stuff like that. I know you're shooting for a major name, so like if you can snag Archer, that's going to be huge. But I don't think we're gonna have to worry too much about somebody snagging the TYSM name or TSYM. I just did it right now. But anyways, I'm Coron. I go by TJ in the real world, and yeah, I run the team called TSYM. It's short for Tactical Symbiosis, but I bet you 99% of the guild that has no idea that that's the actual name because you don't use it on a day to day. So yeah, we ended up we formed up in 2012, but like right at the end of 2012 when Guild Wars 2 started. I was on a server called Dragon Brand, and I was severely underwhelmed by the groups that I was seeing there. And so I just started doing my own thing, and people started showing up day after day for that. And then we went ahead and formed a group with that. Transferred over to a guild called CSROs, or a server called CSROs, and the rest is history there. We ended up taking on a couple of like really big name guilds back in the day, and made a good name for ourselves. You mentioned guilds don't tend to stay around long, and yeah, that's a huge one. I've actually been asked a couple of times like, hey, do we have any of the old school like major players coming around? Guilds just don't, especially if you're a mass combat guild. Guilds can't survive without a game. It's like not having air. Your people don't have anything to do, and everybody just kind of spins. And I feel like that's kind of the holding pattern we've been in since ESO, since we were on ESO, because like it's really hard to keep a group together. And so I've touched base with a lot of the old commanders from the old days, and with one exception, they're all gone. They've all disbanded and went their own ways and stuff like that. So how we've managed to keep it going for 9 years now, fuck if I know, man. I have no idea.
I know there was some like skepticism, like, even from people I was trying to recruit. When you're like, we have 100 people coming for this, I'm like, okay, let's let it happen. Then that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
so
yeah, we got, and that's the thing is they kind of lurk. They like we have a blast. We have a good time, and and when we're out there and we're tearing stuff up, it's addicting. You like it gets you to the. I've had a couple people say that after their first night running with us, they're like, I literally want to run with nobody else. Like it's addicting when you're in there and you're having fun. You have a commander who knows how to like hype the team up and keep the momentum going and stuff like that. And even rolling. I mean, a big part of it is rolling with the punches when you wipe too. Is because you're gonna wipe. We're gonna lose. It's one of those things, and you get these commanders who are a blast to hang with, and they're a blast to be running with when they're winning. And as soon as they lose, they turn in just to the biggest d-bags that you can imagine. And so it's all about that. Like the way that we roll it is like, hey, we took an L. what did we learn? Because like it's only a loss if you learn nothing. And so
Yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting role being in command of a mass combat guild.
No, it's a great way to think about it. Like I noticed that's the down point in a lot of guilds and groups is when things don't go well all of a sudden, how
Mm,
they kind of handle those situations versus when they do go well. Everyone can have a fun time when things are going well, but when they don't go well, it's you need to learn from those and you need to grow. But a lot of people don't get that. Either it's they're young and kind of the maturity level isn't there, or just haven't had that experience yet. But it's great to hear that because that's definitely going to be how groups stay together longer too when they can actually form those bonds like that. Okay, so we'll jump into the questions then on some New World. So kind of my first one I had for you was why New World? What sets it apart from other MMOs, and what about that aspect entices you to want to play it?
So, like I said, the important thing there is New World's not special as far as how we look at it. We've launched on almost every single MMO that's come out
Mm.
since Guild Wars 2. We've uh, the problem is we're a mass combat guild, and if the MMO we're launching on doesn't have mass combat, we don't get the full might of our group. We
Mm.
launched on we did the thing on Final Fantasy 14 for a bit. We did we've launched on non MMO. We did an Outriders thing and we played like that like crazy for 2 months. We've a bunch of us have done it, but like if it's not mass combat, it doesn't have the draw for a lot of these things. So we've launched on every single one of them. But New World is special because like for instance, we did a big thing for Crowfall. Crowfall has mass combat. Crowfall's an old game. Just the way that I don't know. Have you had a chance to play with Crowfall at all?
No, I haven't. Actually, haven't touched
So
on it yet.
it's one of these games that has been in beta or pre beta, late alpha for like 6 years. I know guild leads who have started a guild, ran it its full group, ran it solid for 2 years, left the game for 2 years, and then came back to it, and the game's not even out yet. I think honestly, I think the thing that makes it special is it's backed by Amazon,
Yeah.
and because it's backed by Amazon, it doesn't need to do these like money grabbing kind of things and slow roll betas and stuff like that. It can do everything behind a giant curtain. It can spend the 150 $200 million it needs to be able to make it a game without going belly up like a lot of these other MMOs are. And I think honestly, if I were to say what makes it special, it's its dev cycle. It's able to actually get a game going before it has a huge player base, so that everybody, not just the elite few, get a chance to actually like experience what a launch is. Because I mean, Crowfall launched, and 75% of the player base had over a year's playtime on it.
Yeah.
Very few people can in this New World launch can stay the same. So you're actually going to get the good times of a new game launch. You're going to get
Yeah.
all these people coming in here and learning stuff and trying stuff out and failing stuff. And oh, not everybody doesn't already know every single thing there is. I mean, if you look at our chat, we've been throwing around ideas and metas and combat stuff like crazy. That doesn't happen with Crowfall because 2 years ago people already figured everything out. So yeah, that's what I'd say is the big thing is we're actually going to get a real launch. And as far as MMOs goes, that's gold. Like that's just you just don't see that anymore.
Oh yeah, that's like the best part of MMOs that I've experienced, even playing WoW.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's changed over the years, but I remember back in vanilla TBC and stuff, like playing in the launch of those games, even if the servers were shitty, which is usually what happens at first. But
Yeah.
it's just so much fun. So many people like questing, leveling together, learning new metas, learning new play styles. And I think this game has a lot of that, which is something
Yeah.
that's really exciting because I kind of compared it to PoE in a way, not near that scope. I guess more Diablo 2, but in terms of like the way you can build your characters and kind of alterate and change and try to find these like niche metas, there's going to be really exciting to be a part of.
I love making things that it shouldn't exist in nature. Like hey, I'm gonna take a wizard and I'm gonna give him a battle axe, and so like just doing some I love doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And like Guild Wars 2 or not Guild Wars 2, Path of Exile is one of those things that you can do that. You can just be like, hey, I'm gonna make a wizard that drops totems but throws axes and has 20 pets. Do it.
The other part about this game that really enticed me was, second I heard the word like skill shot, basically, that it's not like a target and cast kind of MMO. It's kind of like a you have to be good at actually hitting your shots. So that kind of brings in my FPS background too, where I kind of play a little bit of both worlds, which is going to be really exciting to see. Which is why I'll probably be stuck to like a permanent range character, except for when we're running our
And
metas. But it's
and
yeah.
let's talk about that because I really think that that is one of those things where because I've had people who I've rolled with for years who are like, oh, I played this a little bit, and I'm not feeling it. And the way that I've been talking, the way that I have to explain it to them is like, stop comparing it to WoW. This is not a WoW remake. Stop
Yeah.
comparing it to Guild Wars 2. This is not a Guild Wars 2 remake. The closest I can put it to is like a Dark Souls, Demon Souls kind of mentality where it's like, and watch and I encourage it, like if anybody is listen, go watch a video. Go watch a video of PvP in New World. Look at the abilities that are cast. They are like less than 10% of your playtime in a PvP fight is going to be spent using abilities and taking effective abilities. Everything it's these skill shots. It's these light and heavy left clicks essentially that you're going to be doing, and dodges. Like I can't stress this enough. Is like you want to talk about something that just that really actually like takes this thing to another level is watch some of these pro 1v1 duelers, and it doesn't feel like you're playing an MMO. It feels like you're playing like a fighting game or something, or like you get a skill shot, they come around and dodge it around, they throw a thing at your feet, you dodge out of that, like you go up, you hit a gravity well, pulls the dude in, he manages to do a double dodge out of it because he has this thing, turns around and shoots you with a musket. It's like there's some really cool things that can happen in there that like, whereas like in WoW, you got your lock on targeting. You lock on your targeting, and then I hit 3 and I hit you with a fireball, and that's how that goes.
Yeah. No, and I definitely agree. Like I was reading a Twitter post today about someone's like, this is the WoW killer. It's like, well, but it is a different game. It's like you can't it might pull certain MMO people away, I think, but it's its own game. It's not really the same. So kind of on that questioning line, it kind of goes into the next one here, which is, what does this game kind of have a casual aspect to it? And like, do you think casuals can play this game and kind of find that same level of enjoyment of someone who's playing at the hardcore level?
I think honestly, I think it's gonna pull all kinds. I mean, if you look at the roster of TSYM, we're like we have probably five casual non PvPers for every PvEer that we work with. Because one of the things that people a lot of times underestimate with casuals or PvEers is that they don't have the skill of a PvPer. There's like
Mhm.
it's like all but we're the PvP master race, and there's all the peasants that are kind of down there doing the harvesting and stuff like that. And that's why a lot of guilds would look at the people that I run with, and we do amazing things. We do stupid good things because it's all about training. It's all about building up our team and working with them and getting them up to the level that they need to be. And I think this game, if you've done any harvesting at all during any of the betas, it's freaking addicting. Like, it's fun to just go chop trees down. It's fun to just to go, like I'll be running around like, oh crap, a walnut, and I'm like run over there and grab a walnut. Like I don't do that. I'm the one that I need to be shooting light, force lightning up an enemy's ass if I'm going to be enjoying myself. And here I am like brewing up a potion and enjoying it. So I think honestly, like I don't think a game can rest on any one thing too hard. Otherwise, you lose kind of the mix that is the whole bunch. I think honestly, its weakest aspect is going to be or at least in the time that I played with it, is going to be its PVE content.
Mhm.
But I also have a feeling that they didn't show us a lot of the PVE content. I have a feeling that when this thing comes live, there's going to be some stuff that we haven't seen that they intentionally kept behind a wall, as they should.
Yeah.
Because PVEers, once you're done with the content, you're done. Like you don't. It's like PvPers. We make our own content.
Well, one
We
thing
make
people,
our own.
I've seen a lot too is people are again comparing it to WoW, and it's just like WoW's. Look at WoW when WoW Vanilla was out though. Like the content was pretty minuscule. Like we had some dungeons, like there was no raids. All that stuff came out after the game came out, and I think the same kind of thing can happen here with New World. Once
Agreed.
we give it
I
time.
mean, yeah, you can't compare it against 10, 12,
How
15 years
content
of
building.
content of
Yeah.
content of content and patch and release and all this. Like I don't even know what arena season they're on. Like I mean, it's got to be into like close to 50 or 60 or something like that. Like it's WoW. This whole concept, like a game has to kill WoW. WoW's dead. WoW is why
It's
I
dead.
really
I
honestly
mean,
believe WoW's dead. But it's being kept alive because nobody's come up with anything better.
yeah.
I don't talk to people who are well, with the exception of one. Hi, Josh. Uh, I don't talk to people who are just diehard WoW and can't get enough WoW. I talk to people who are playing WoW because there's just no competition. There's no better draw for them, so they're like, "Well, I guess I'll go back to WoW." It's like it's been the consolation prize for years and years and years, and I mean, it is a great game, but like it's the magnum opus that it is cannot keep that going for as long as it has been. And all it's going to take, like a game like New World, to show up and be like, "Hey, we have an alternative. Come and get it." And
Yeah.
I honestly believe like you're going to have a lot of people relieved to walk away from WoW,
Yeah.
relieved to like step away from that. So, like I said, I honestly believe that WoW doesn't need a killer. WoW's dead. WoW has long ago passed its prime. We're just waiting for it's just being kept on life support because nobody else will put the final blow in there. And so even a halfway decent game that has long term staying value
Yeah.
is going to kill it. It'll
Yeah.
pull enough people away that will actually have a real contender for an MMO competition.
So one thing I'll bring up actually that Nemesis kind of brought up, which was kind of ties into my next question, which was we've covered a few of them already, but it's kind of what aspects that we look most looking forward to here. Combat we've kind of touched on, PvE we've touched on, but the crafting I think is going to be a big one to talk about as well in regards to the kind of the WoW being dead part you're talking about. Is I know when I think about crafting in WoW in the last like 6 expansions, it's this absolutely useless thing that is pretty much like you want aside from potions and like alchemy, there's basically nothing you want to touch. Whereas I think this game, I'm gonna let you touch on it here, is the crafting looks awesome. Like, and as you said, it's fun. Like even the harvesting
Fun,
feels
like
fun.
yeah, like I mean, really think about what you do in crafting in WoW. You're like, oh, I get a whatever a plus 50% bonus to the potion buffs that I get. So you just go and you follow a guide and boom, you're max level at crafting. Like it's not like crafting is a means to an end. It's a stat bump.
Yeah.
It's like I go through this step right here. Like your identity is not a crafter. Did you ever play Star Wars Galaxies?
No, I didn't, fortunately.
So in Star Wars Galaxies, imagine like this game, you have one character that you play. That's it, and you have a certain number of skill points that you can place. Your identity is those skill points. If you want to be a crafter, that becomes your whole identity. You don't have a combat class. I talked to multiple people
Crazy.
who you were a crafter. Like that was your identity. I had a separate character off of my combat character
Mm,
that was an architect, and he would make these like harvesters and stuff. And that was his identity. It's a really cool thing that you do, and it was a major. I was a major player on that server that I did as a crafter, and I mean, trading and harvesting and all these kind of things. WoW doesn't have that. Your identity has nothing to do with your crafting. Crafting is, like I said, it's just a little step up you do. In this game, I can honestly see crafting being an identity again,
yeah.
where you're actually like, I'm the server's like main crafter for XYZ,
Yeah.
like, or one of the main crafters for XYZ. If anything, if it does kind of ride the way of WoW, at least what you'll get is you'll get a lot of people being able to get into different aspects, because what you're talking about is a time sink.
Yeah.
I plan on getting maxed out, and I think we were talking about the same thing. I plan on getting maxed out with all my stuff,
Yeah.
harvesting, crafting, all that stuff. I'll max it all out because it's investing into the game, and it's prolonging that experience, all that stuff. I'll do fishing, I'll do all this stuff. Granted, I'm going to do all that crap after I'm max level. Just a heads up. And we'll talk about like game plans for first day and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like
Mm,
the big thing with it is it's fun, and it actually has a chance to actually be a thing that you do as part of the fun game, not the annoying crap you do around the edges of the fun stuff.
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think just the fact that you rely on crafting even so early on, like potions and food, just to keep your health up, is kind of a big
Yeah.
difference, I think, than some other games. So, like, I know as even in the beta, I'm running around trying to pick herbs because I'm like, oh, I want to be able to make my better potions or trying to craft myself an ice gauntlet. because at the time I couldn't find it on the auction house. So I was like, "This is my only route. Let's try to do this."
Yeah,
And yeah,
and
it
you whipped
was
one up, and
interesting.
it's fun. And you get it, and like you get a lucky craft or something like that. And you're like, wow, I got a really cool ice gauntlet. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't remember the last time I did anything like that in WoW. Like maybe vanilla, but even vanilla, it wasn't a major
it
thing.
wasn't like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I got one. Wait, where are we at here? Oh no, yeah, yeah. So yeah, kind of back to what you're talking about there, strategy wise, and kind of what the plan is. So what is our day one plan, kind of 2, 3, and then by the end of the week, kind of goal as well. Like what do you see for that?
So, um, one of the big things I'm really urging our team to do is, and I really honestly think it's the most effective route, despite how fun crafting can be, despite how fun harvesting can be, and the money you can make, and all those sorts of things. Um, I'm really pushing for people to hit max level like soon, like really quickly after it. I've actually spoken to a couple people that were concerned. They were like, "Well, but I don't want to rush the game or anything like that." It's not rushing the game. The leveling is the menial thing that you have to do, but there's a very specific window at the very beginning of the game. There's a very specific window that if you can get yourself to 60, you are joining the majority of the sprinters up through 60, and then you get to do the crafting, then you get to do the harvesting, then you go do the wars and the outpost rush, which I am so excited for outpost rush. If you I don't know if you've had a chance to see the videos, but that looks like a really, really, really cool like blend of MMO and wars and honestly League of Legends. I got a mega
Yeah,
League of Legends like MOBA vibe out of it too, which you can't do until you're max level.
yeah,
The only thing stopping you from putting on star metal tools and harvesting at 625 harvesting rate is level. As soon as you hit 60, you can throw that on there. And the thing I've been trying to explain to people is, let's say you have let's say you get yourself to 60 and then you put on star metal tools and then you start harvesting, you will surpass somebody in crafting that is trying to craft as they level. You will pass them up because you're harvesting at 625% harvesting speed and you're max level. So you're not pulling aggro from wolves and stuff like that. And even if you do, you can just one shot it. It just like it allows you to kind of like focus down on target. Plus, you're not going to get jumped by random people, and if your leveling gets too slow, that's exactly what's going to happen. You might get jumped by some random people, or even just people who are at max level running around 625% crafting speed, taking all your gold, and your wood or your weird wood or whatever it is you're trying to harvest.
yeah.
So I'm just really trying to push people as like for launch, we're gonna blow the whistle. Server's gonna go live. You're gonna get in there. You're gonna try to get your name. Your name's probably gonna get taken. You're gonna have to pull on one of your other ones. Then you're
Archer.
gonna get on the server, and so one of the big things that I'm really looking forward to with that is watching our team actually have a coordinated goal, which
Yeah,
is to get a city at the launch.
yeah.
Um, I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to pull the city that we want. But what that requires is everybody going the same direction with the same mentality, which is get yourself as much gold as you can as quickly as you can and send it all to me.
Yeah.
I want all your money because what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy that city and then we're going to be famous after that.
He's gonna break our
Um,
legs if we don't give it to him.
yeah, I gotta send out my leg breakers out. But yeah, like it's something about that kind of mentality of like working for a greater good, working for you're the like all for one for all kind of mentality. Um, I know the TSYM that I've worked with in the past thrive in that. We live at a with a mentality where the stronger you are, the stronger I am, the stronger we are. Which means whenever we've had somebody like, hey, I need some people to help me do a thing because I'll unlock this weapon or I'll do this thing that I really want to do. We've never had a shortage of people step up for that because we help you out. You're a little bit stronger, and then you got my back when we're in a fight, and that's a huge thing. And so, yeah, that's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most with our launching strategy is that moment probably within the moment we blow the whistle and the server comes up to about 3 hours after that,
Yeah,
where everybody's pushing, everybody's sending in money, everybody is like hooting and hollering. We got everybody kind of pushing through and running in groups and getting all that stuff. And I'm just seeing the gold go up and up and up until we hit that 100K mark, and then we're able to buy our first city.
Yeah.
That's a really exciting thing. And one of the people that in our chat actually mentioned the fact that if we grab a city early on, the fame from that is probably going to spur recruitment. And so it'll fill up our secondary guilds roster as well, which I'm really excited for.
Awesome.
So kind of pushing that, and then like I said, get through the starting levels, get ourselves up to 20 or so, get into groups of 5, 10, 15, something like that, and then go hit the elite areas and start farming elites like crazy. Like, it's actually fun to play the game and fun to do the combat, and so just doing the grind actually is something I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. Yeah. And then so that's kind of like the 1 week mark, then have an open territory, kind of help others get caught up. And then so what about the longevity, or not long, I guess the longevity, like what's the long-term goal would be better answer question for that after that point.
My goal long term with the TSYM primary group is, and my officers, we've talked a lot about this stuff as well, is creating a PvP hub where, like, a zone that's just going to be kind of your PvP area, and like, we'll be there. We'll bring 20 people. You bring 20 people. The other enemy brings 60 people, and then we have these like big just wars and roaming groups running around in the forests, hunting each other and fighting each other and stuff like that. Like, day to day, there's going to be some really fun stuff to do with that, just to kill people. You have legendary weapons once you get 60, so getting those unlocked is going to be a huge deal. Getting your crafting up, getting your harvesting up, all of those things are going to be fairly like short to mid term goals, but I think they're going to keep a lot of us fishing. I'm like, the fishing is actually kind of fun. I'm looking forward to doing that. I caught a legendary fish during one of the betas. It was a blast.
Awesome.
And I think for the mid to long term goals is we have our raid window. It'll probably be between 4 and 5, maybe even as late as 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. Like, that's going to be our 30-minute raid window. If somebody wants to try to take our city from us, they have to hit us in that window. So we have to be on call for that window. But that's only 30 minutes of our entire day. And I've led command groups for 13, 14, 15 hours straight. So the idea of just be like, oh, we're just going to get that high for a tiny little bit doesn't really appeal to me. What I want is, I want it all. I want to be able to hit that thing multiple times a night. I made mention of the second TSYM guild that we'll be creating as the overflow for it, but I want that guild to own a city. I want that, and we can step up and fill that roster as well. We can move people in between them depending on who's under siege, and allies. And this is a good time to talk about allies, because I've been approached by 6 teams that are thinking about joining up with us once we get over there. Imagine a small little 15, 20, 25 man guild that is really excited to go on and kick some ass and try to get a city or something like that. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't give a crap how good that little 15 man group is. You're not getting a city. You just simply can't. You don't have the numbers to be able to do that. But I got people who want to be killing day to night. So I'll pad your group. You take that stuff, and now Covenant has another city which we can move goods from and get more benefits from and stuff like that. And so, long term, what I see is a lot of wars in our future. I see a lot. Not necessarily within our prime guild, which will own whatever city that we're hoping to get. We'll be fighting off teams that try to take that from us, but also all the little teams that are wanting to own cities. They go through the steps and get the war going and stuff like that. I'll give them 20, 30, 40 people with running our meta. I'll take command of the group, and we'll get them that land. And now we have another ally and another covenant group that has something, which can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a good like mutual advantage too for allies. So like we get the fun out of it, and also just having kind of people that we can rely on, and they get that as well, just kind of sharing those resources and numbers.
Agreed.
A kind of question that kind of relates to that, actually, I was going to ask is if I can find it. Oh yeah. Like, how do you feel about the solo experience for this game? For those kind of not playing as part of a company, what do you think that's going to be like for them? And yeah, essentially.
Really good. If you did any dueling during any of the betas, the solo game is hot. I've seen videos of 20-man groups getting really messed with by a one dude who's I think he was running ice gauntlet, fire staff, and like they can't kill him. They're doing everything they can, and he's killing people. He's putting people in the dirt, and there's 20 people there. He should be worm food, and he's not. I think the really skilled individual will have plenty of places to go,
Yeah.
and plenty of things to do. It's but it's an MMO. There you are not going to be able to do all the things.
Yeah.
But I think if you're running solo and these things, that I'm not telling anybody anything that they don't already know.
Yeah.
There'll be things that you won't be able to do, and like if it's one of those things where like, hey, I really want to experience a war, there'll be guilds that will need people to pad their roster for wars. Just drop in there and go and have some fun. That's how I saw the war. That's how Assailant saw the war. There's like we had a couple people, different people drop into those wars and check them out. We haven't fielded a full team in one of them yet, but individually we've gone in there because they can't fill all 50 slots.
And I
But
think
my
that's
goal is that we easily fill that 50 slots.
yeah, I think that's a super good point for solos, because I know again, go back to the WoW comparison. I'm trying to stop talking about WoW so much because New World's the focus here. But as a solo player, you definitely struggle like to get into the PvE environment, which is kind of like the more focus point there. But you really have to be a part of a guild if you really want to push like the mythic level or the harder end game stuff. And it's hard to do that. Whereas this, you can kind of jump into a war if a guild needs people, and it's as simple as that. You can kind of experience it. I mean, you still have to play with other people to experience it, but you don't necessarily have to be tied down to a group to do that.
Agreed.
Which
And
would be great.
being able to like I said, I want to play in a war. You could play in a war. You could totally do that. It's and I wouldn't sweat the WoW. Though everybody's comparing to WoW, but everybody does that for every single MMO that has
True,
ever
yeah.
released since WoW. They're like, "Is this the WoW killer?" No, it's not. It's settle down. And I always find the comparison funny because uh, WoW came out at a really unique time. Did you play WoW on release?
Yeah,
So WoW came out at such a unique time that like people are like, "Oh, is this the next WoW?" There will never be another WoW.
yeah,
Will never happen because WoW came out at a unique time where if you were into MMOs, you were to the game nerds what game nerds are to normal people. Like it was like to be an MMO player at that time with Asheron's Call and EverQuest and stuff like that. Like the barrier to entry for a new player was insane.
yeah,
And then WoW comes out and is like, "Oh yeah, your freaking grandma can play."
yeah,
And people lost their minds. People it was so approachable and so friendly to new players, and it babied you, did like kind of helped you through the little things like that. It's never going to happen again.
yeah,
There's a lot to be said about that. So I laugh at it, but it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, there's not going to be another WoW because the time that it needs it is gone. But what I will say is New World has a really good opportunity to be an actual new style of MMO,
yeah,
not a WoW clone. Which, as far as I'm concerned, that alone should give it you should give it a shot if anybody's on the fence with it, because it's like if you've played WoW, and let's be honest, if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably played WoW.
yeah,
Um, you've already done that. Like, why are you just like, oh, I want a settler skinned WoW? No, you don't. You want a new game. This is
yeah,
a new game. Enjoy it. Like, cast that crap off and get into this.
yeah. Cool. Okay, so this is actually kind of a good point. I was going to jump into a little bit different questions, kind of more about kind of your past experiences that have kind of defined you as a strategist or leader. Like, how will you kind of apply that to New World and try to succeed with that?
Yeah, that's a great one. I'm not sure if you know this about me or not, but I'm actually a high school teacher. I teach U.S. history, world history, and business, focus on management, leadership, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we talk about in there is like business leadership. And I teach one kind of leadership, zero. I don't. There are zero other good leadership traits or styles that I've come across, and this is me studying it for something since the military, since working in video games, since running my own stuff. Like I truly believe there's one type of good leadership, and that is it's a style of leadership called servant leadership. And servant leadership, basically, it's very subtle, but it's a very specific way of getting your ego out of the way of being a team lead. At its core is, you don't work for me. Yes, I'm at the front. Yes, I'm the one that's actually, making things, making the decisions, stuff like that. But you don't work for me. I work for you. I like, you tell me what needs to happen and I make it happen. You tell me, hey, I can't, like we need to take that hill and we can't. I need to be like, okay, what do I need to do to make this work for you? It's a really subtle way, but like, yeah, like when you ask that question, that's what I think about, because we talked about previous, other guilds, and one of the biggest things I think get in the way of good leadership, whether it be guilds, I don't care if it's leadership is leadership.
Yeah.
It is like, oh, but it's a game. No, if you're a dick in a game, or you're a dick in real life, like, you're still a dick. Doesn't really matter. And so, like, when it comes to leadership, leadership is leadership. Doesn't matter if it's in a game or on an actual battlefield. And at its core is taking care of your people. I really believe that. And so, I get a lot of people who join our team, who are really wary and really cautious and really kind of like, don't want to, like, for instance, we do a really restrictive meta. Yeah, like, you show up, you get on the line, you run this weapon and this weapon with these skills on your bar, you run this armor right here, these slots. It's really restrictive, and it's really kind of, it doesn't allow for everybody to be their own unique, like, versions of whatever it is that they want to play.
Yeah.
And I get trauma come out with some members, because they've dealt with guilds like this, that are just complete assholes, that are
Yeah.
complete jerks to their people. And yeah, like if I want to point to one thing, it's try like having taken to that style of leadership early on, where it allows me to get my ego out of the way
Yeah.
and actually, like, play with the team, and they don't feel like they're serving me as a peasant. Because that's the way a lot of guild leaders take their teams. And
Yeah.
if you listen to them scream at their people when they're having a bad day, or listen to them scream at their people when they're doing this or that, it's like, man, it's really frustrating, because and I get those members, and then I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have you do this, and they're like, no, 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 I don't do that sort of thing. I'm like, settle down. I'm not that dude. I'm not the dude that you're thinking of when you join this guild. And so, the biggest thing with that also is that, like, because I try to keep my ego out of the way, when I'm working with my team, I can take a loss, which I honestly, I think we mentioned this before, but that I can't overstress that, is like I like a team lead, who can't take a loss, will, like, to conserve his own ego as a psychological defense, will blame whoever it is. He'll blame the other
Exactly.
team for
Yeah.
cheating. He'll blame you for not doing the heals on time and stuff like that. Like, and I've seen that so many times. And so,
Yeah.
when it comes to leading a group, and leading a team out there, because you take that L, like, yeah, you're sitting there, you're at the front of the group, but the whole team's dead. The whole team's in the dirt. You're not the only one that died. And
Yeah.
yet, like, you get these team leads, especially if your ego is just riding shotgun. You get these team leads that just come down like a ton of bricks on the team. And, like, why are you doing that? The other the other team just put us in the dirt. Why are you digging a hole underneath that?
Yeah.
And so, like I said, that's like, if like you want to talk my North Star, it's that. It's like, take care of your team. And honestly, like, it made you, like, sometimes it feels like I'm the one that's running things, but, like, honestly, I work for you. Like, if enough of the team was like, hey, we want to go play Hello Kitty Island Adventure, I will get my backpack and we will go. So yeah.
Awesome. No, that yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's I align with that too. Like, even in my even in my professional life, as you mentioned, same idea. Like, in my company, I'm lucky they're very much like that, where we don't have a boss, we have leaders, we have people you want to follow versus people telling you to follow them, which is, I think, the huge difference that people kind of don't understand between a boss and a leader is kind of that one mentality right there.
And if
Um,
you've never actually been under a leader,
yeah,
you don't know what you're missing. You have no, like, you're like looking at your manager at Starbucks or something like that, who just,
yeah.
like, makes you feel like crap, and you're like, is that a leader? No, it's not.
So I was reading a Nemesis comment at the same time, but yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, okay, right on the money there. Cool. We've actually kind of answered a few of the other questions I was going to ask right after that. So I'll kind of jump into the last one here, which is, do you think New World has what it takes to keep people hooked? And what do you think we need to see in the game in order to keep that kind of longevity of it and kind of grow into, uh, a much bigger MMO? Though the numbers look great already, like we were discussing earlier. But yeah,
Yeah. And the big thing is like it needs to have a balance. As much as I talk shit on like going and doing other PVE stuff when I got there's PVE to do,
yeah,
you need the PVE.
yeah,
As much as the PVEers might disdain whatever it is that we do when we're knocking heads, it needs all of those parts together. And that's one of let's bring up the WoW analogy again here. WoW has all the different aspects.
yeah,
It's not like, oh, hey, I don't want an arena, so you don't play WoW.
yeah,
I mean, you can go out in open world. You can go do battlegrounds. You can go harvest. You can craft. You can play the auction house. You can do raids. There's full volumes of different raids. You can make alts. There's a million things to do.
yeah,
And so, honestly, the biggest thing I think that they can do is have a progressing story and do it timely.
yeah,
We have these northern areas in this map that can't be claimed.
yeah,
Like I think there's some really they could do some. I think they're going to do some really cool stuff with that. They
yeah,
could continue to expose the upper areas, and like I mean, just imagine this from the onset. You have a map that starts to become stable. You have
yeah,
your primary teams that all start to take those things, and then you open one area that is the king. It is the like if you hold this area, like your guild gets some sort of like crazy good benefits or something like that.
yeah,
And now you have everybody, all these other big guilds that have owned these different things. Everybody starts vying for that one spot.
yeah,
Like you, like they need things like that. They need things to where that you can stir that competition. That you can that gives you a reason for it. Have a reason for us to meet on the battlefield and knock each other around.
yeah,
I think the 50v50 wars is amazing, and the way that they did the siege windows is amazing. There's no offline raids or anything like that. I'm not gonna like log on and my team lost the this and that. It'll be it'll be wild. And so honestly, like it needs to be a team that understands all the different aspects, and I think they do. I
yeah,
think that's exactly what we're dealing with here because um, this like you even see it in how they go. They're not afraid to try stuff out. This last beta, they dropped PvP scaling
yeah.
just to try it. They were just like, "Hey, let's see if this sticks," and it didn't fucking stick.
That
People
raised a lot of
hated it.
voices. Yeah,
Oh, people hated it. But like the thing that people don't see, I think, when somebody takes their favorite toy away, is they were trying something. And I
yeah,
think I think there's something to be said about that. I think this is a team that's willing to try something and be wrong and kick things back to the way they were. Now they may just be like, hey, nope, screw you guys, scaling is off, eat it. In which case that'll be really sad. But I do love the fact that they have this mentality of let's see if this works, because that tells me that they're not ego driven when it comes to this. Because I think in game development your ego is going to get in your way too.
yeah,
I mean, look at Activision and EA. Like these are companies that tell you what you want to play. These are not companies that check to see what you want to play. These are companies that are like, no, no. Look at Modern Warfare 3 when that came out. Everybody was like, let's take Call of Duty back to previous. Let's go back. And they were like, no, you want a future thing. Here's a rainbow colored jetpack. And
yeah,
and like it's that ego, that mentality,
yeah,
that really kind of damages that player developer relationship. And I don't think we have to deal with that too much with these guys, because like I said, I see this kind of mentality of let's see if this works. Oh, it didn't. Okay, let's revert it back. Oh, let's try if this works. Hey, it works. Let's keep it. The fact that they changed this thing from a Atlas style, Rust style, like open world PvP game to an MMO, I thought was brilliant, because we don't need another Atlas. We have that. It
yeah.
sucked. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Like I'm really curious to see what happens when they release the patch notes for launch, especially with the scaling and stuff, and it's kind of going to determine right away which kind of developers they want to be. Like you said, if they're going to make these kind of experiments, let's see how they kind of react to the output
No.
of them. So it'll be interesting.
The other thing I wanted just to mention, because I know a lot of people have, I mean, this like our Discord channel's been blowing up about this. You've seen this as well about like
Yeah,
our server selection
yeah,
and like which one we're going to go to and all this kind of stuff. And and like I said, this I mean I've been doing MMOs since Ashron's Call was around. If you're somebody who's watching this and you're like, "What's Ashron's Call?" Go look it up and see when it came out. I've been doing this a bit, and here's the thing: is we all feel it. There's hype on this game. There's hype on this game. There's buzz on this game. This game is rattling cages, and it's drawing a lot of people back to the MMO world because it's been so long since we've had a major player. We are not going to find empty servers. It just won't happen. We are not. It's not like, hey, we went with Magmel, which it's looking like it's starting to skew that direction. We're not. We're going to go with Magmel. We log on and there's nobody there. Nobody claiming maps. If we see 4 people, guys, it's not going to like the volume of people that we are going to play is going to blow your mind. When you look at how many people are on the betas, and then you take in the additional fact that a vast majority of the people I think that we're going to be playing with are not on those betas.
yeah,
They are going
for
to be
sure.
players that like, hey, New World's released, I'm going to go play it.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I know plenty of people who will not touch a beta. Like, why am I going to go test your game for you? I want you to release the final version for me, and I like I've done that as well. And so, a lot of people were concerned about that stuff. I just wanted to just throw that out there. Is um, with that launch, with that hype and all that kind of stuff, is going to be a lot of guilds that don't exist right now coming out of the woodwork.
yeah,
A lot of people like I did when in Guild Wars 2, when I was like, you know what, our faction needs some organization. Let me go create a guild and start it up. And I think we're going to see those kinds of things, and they're going to be coming out and tear stuff up. They're going to be coming out and organizing their people. They're going to see us. They're going to put together a meta, and they're going to kick our butt. It's gonna happen. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for it.
yeah.
And so yeah, a lot of people are really hyper focusing on the guilds that are making a lot of noise right now. But if you look out there, we are not one of them.
Yeah.
We're not going to be a small presence on our server. And I'm not out there talking crap. I'm not on any things like declaring TSYM will be here, tremble at our fuck off. I'm not like we're feel like, oh well, we're gonna cull the entire server and everybody's gonna, and we're not gonna have competition. Like I said, I'm good. I'm just not that good. Like we're not like we're gonna find competition. Somebody's gonna knock us off our throne. It'll happen. I have plans for when that does, and I'm looking forward to it, honestly.
No, I'm excited too to have kind of like these reoccurring enemies, or like just kind of like our rivals. It'll be fun to kind of have
Yes.
that relationship with people. And one point about the beta too that I think a lot of people don't realize is, the first beta, like I didn't play it myself, but it was also a
Mhm.
paid beta, which cuts out a lot of people as well that even want to play the beta. So yeah, I totally agree. Especially for an MMO too, like those numbers are going to be definitely not the majority. Like people don't like to waste their time in a beta for an MMO and then have to redo all those steps again in the real game, right? Unless they're really dedicated.
Just the
Which
idea. I have a lot of TSYM members that have bought the game who were on it who didn't play any of the betas.
yeah, yeah,
And so it's like those people exist that aren't attached to a team. Everybody settle down. We're gonna find competition. It'll happen.
yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm super excited for Tuesday. Only what, 2 days a day, 2 nights away now, 3 nights away. Yeah.
It's crazy we haven't just like eaten our couch cushions in frustration over the last 2 weeks. It's like I like and somebody actually mentioned this, and I've never related to anything more. It's this like I don't even want to play any other games right now.
Yeah.
I don't even Gordon Orange said, I ruined MMOs for him because rolling with him as a leader, I couldn't stomach rolling with anyone else. Thanks, man. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's ego. You watch some of these people, like some of these guild leads, and and like I said, we were talking about this when you're team lead and things are going good and you're winning. It is easy to be the team lead. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so easy, and you just keep. I mean, everybody's riding high. We're all high fiving and rubbing bellies and stuff like that. But like, it's when you it's when you they knock your dick in the dirt, and you're just
Yeah.
like, okay, let's pick it up and figure out where we go next.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I'm
But
the
yeah, this
same. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
he totally broke my concentration. What were we talking about?
No. I was about when you lose, and then we were just talking about how excited we are for it to come out.
Oh yeah, no, and I don't even want to play other games because and what's funny is I've never related to something more where somebody's like I like it's ruined other games for me. I can't play New World right now, and I don't want to play anything else.
Yeah.
I and like I've given it some thought because I don't like it when my brain does things and I don't understand it. And honestly, you know what I feel like it is like it's the calm before the storm because
Yeah.
we all feel like we are going to lose ourselves in this, that we are going to go so far over the top. And I feel like that requires a focus battery.
Hmm.
We're gonna put all of our focus on this thing in 2 days, so much so that we don't want to like drain that battery on like, I don't know,
Somebody else.
Diablo or something like that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we're just like, you know what? I'm gonna bottle it up. I'm gonna store up all that stuff because when this thing goes, there's gonna be sparks, and I'm gonna dump everything I have into it. I'm taking 3 days off of school. Told my kids, it was like, be nice to your sub because I ain't freaking coming back. Like,
No, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm on your kind of wavelength too with the losing. But I'm excited to lose to people, so that way we can go back and beat them after the fact. And I think that's also an exciting part is when you lose to someone, to beating them after and kind of creating that back and forth, which will be exciting.
absolutely,
Um,
and I mean, learn from Sparta. Like a little bit of history teacher thing for you here. Like
yeah.
Sparta's entire identity. I mean, yeah, you watch 300, you're like, man, I want to be like Sparta. Sparta sucked. Sparta sucked because Sparta's entire identity was undefeated. Like nobody can ever defeat us. We're the greatest warriors ever. We can never be defeated. And then they got defeated, and their entire culture broke down
Yeah.
because they can't. Because how can you be undefeated and take a loss? And their entire culture dismantled. It's
Yeah.
a very like obtuse way of viewing fights. Like I'm with you, man. Like I can't wait till we knock some guild in the dirt and then we think we got him and they just come up with something crazy and knock us around. And I can't wait to sit there and look at what they did and be like, okay, we got to break this down, we got to figure out what the next step is.
Yeah.
Oh, they did this over here, they did this over there, we're reverse engineering their stuff. Because if you don't think they're going to be doing that to us, you're insane. They're going to be up in that. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited for the wins. I'm super excited for the L's because it's all drama, it's all fun.
Awesome. Okay, well, I mean, I think that covers it for today. We'll just sleep for 3 more nights and then jump into the game and be ready to go.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
pound like a 40 of NyQuil, and I'll see you on Tuesday.
All right, sounds good. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Hope this hypes you up for New World like it does the rest of us. Yeah, enjoy.